Good morning, good people. I am back, refreshed from many vacations, so let's talk. I'm Dr. Ashley Gaddy Robbins. I am a scholar, a speaker, and I study systems of power. And in this case, I'm also specifically talking about my research and experience in looking into Black women, everyday Black women to be specific. Here is what I will say. I will say this, if we are experiencing the blatant and subtle levels of anti-blackness and misogynoir from, towards Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, gold and bronze, Olympian Jordan Chiles, then imagine what Black women are going through every day. Imagine what Black women at your job are witnessing and having to respond to every day. Imagine what Black women who are just living their lives, simply existing, are having to go through every day. Forms of oppression, rarely make national consciousness, right? It's happening every day, but it rarely ever will make the news, if you will, in the kind of true ways that oppression is happening. So if we're seeing this on a large scale, on a national, global scale, then just imagining what's happening to folks every day. This should make you curious. This should make you have to ask some questions. If Madam VP gets this kind of hate, gets these kind of remarks, gets this kind of, judgment, if Jordan Chiles is sitting here being questioned and people are coming for her 5 days later, what's happening to Black women down on my street? What's happening to Black women at the grocery store? What's happening to Black women on their jobs? This should make us curious because the reality is this is what Black women are battling and fighting every single day. And no one will ever know their name because the camera wasn't there or because they don't have a position of power or because they're not well known. But it doesn't mean that it's not happening. I also want to very quickly kind of break down the difference between sexism and misogynoir. This may be a term that you may be seeing more recently now, kind of as we look into potentially having a Black woman president. So, sexism is what we know to be the prejudice and discrimination towards women or female-bodied people. Right? We are familiar with this concept of it being a system of power that advantages men and male-bodied people. Misogynoir is a term that was coined in 2008 by a Black feminist that really looks at the ways in which anti-blackness, the intersections of anti-blackness and misogyny and sexism intersect and what that means specifically for Black women, right? And this really stems from the ways in which the history of Black women and their bodies and the ways in which they have been seen and viewed and their personhood, right, has really is situated in misogynoir. And so there has always been a distinction between personhood, humanity, and property for Black women, right? We have images and historical data of the ways in which Black women were viewed as promiscuous because of their bodies, right? And the ways in which they had more, bigger, solid, beautiful features, but these were being seen as viewed as them being promiscuous or them having this very sexualized experience. And so as we kind of track anti-blackness and misogyny, this is where misogynoir comes. And this is very different in the ways in which white women or women of color who are not Black are experiencing misogyny and experiencing sexism. And so I really wanted to take time to break that down a little bit because this may be a very new term that people are seeing. And I don't want folks to confuse it with sexism or misogyny. Misogynoir is very specific to the Black woman experience. And this is what not only we are seeing on a national and global level with these ladies and these women, but that Black women are handling every day. So this is what I say. if you're at your job or if you're in your life and you're like, things seem to be going pretty well. We do pretty well with inclusion. Everyone seems to be pretty happy at work. Not to say that isn't true, but check in with a black woman. Check in with a black woman, because the intersections of anti-blackness and misogynoir create a very unique experience, and the ways in which they can really tell you about some things that are happening on the job, right? I say this often. When you have had the rug pulled out from under you in a very specific way, you know the truth about power. So if you think everything is going fine and dandy, talk to a black woman and see what's really going on. I hope this was helpful. Y'all have a good day. Peace.